There's no green crusties yet, but there's beads of moisture there. Man, I can't keep a hold of anything right now. Like I can't talk. Contact. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. I'm glad you could join me. Today, we have a Ram 1500. It is the limited edition. It's the Ecodiesel 1500. So, what we've got going on here today is we have customer complaint. Rear tail light is not working on this thing. If I know what I'm talking about, and if I remember, this thing's got an LED bulb in the back. So let's see what we can get figured out here. This may be a complicated repair and it may not be, so stay tuned. All right, so it is the Ram 1500, 48,240 miles on the odometer. First thing we're going to do is we're going to verify the customer's complaint. So let's just go ahead and turn the lights on, and we'll come back here. We see that thing's not on. This one is. We have verified the concern. Ooh. We've also got a crack here. I wonder, did we have a something hit this thing? Ooh. Well, yeah, there's moisture in this thing. I would assume that this thing has got moisture in it. Well, that one might have a little bit as well. I'm not sure. But let's just go ahead and pull this thing out of here. We'll see if we've got any kind of power up to this thing, and let's just see what we find. All right, so I believe this is going to be Torx bit. Wrong size, one size bigger, T maybe, not sure, maybe a T25, yup. Okay, let's get our 1/4 inch drive here. Oh, come on. And I think if we take these two out of here, this thing should, in theory, slide out of here. So let's get this, and it's looking like it's loose. Oh, whoa. Maybe not. I think we may have to pull these plastic clips out of here. So let me get you guys set up a little different here. I'll get my little tripod out and get you guys set up here, and then I can have both hands and work a little better. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this thing unhooked here. Try to not knock you guys off of the tailgate there. There we go. Alright, let's get a little trim pliers there. Come out. Come out. Thank you. And this just pulls out. Okay, so what we need to figure out here, do we have power requested back here? Let's just go ahead and, before we do too much of anything else, let's go ahead and make sure that our plug-in is okay. There's no green crusties on here. Come on. So there's moisture. I don't know if you guys will be able to pick this up on camera, but there's little beads of moisture down in here. There's no green crusties yet, but there's beads of moisture there. Man, I can't keep a hold of anything right now. Like I can't talk. Anyway, all right, let's get this thing set up here to where I can bring this over. I'm going to pull this out, this wiring harness out, because I want to be able to lay this thing on the bed and check my powers and grounds up to it. What I would suspect has happened is we've got a got moisture inside the tail light here that caused this tail light to fail. Now, I don't remember, I know I looked it up here a couple weeks ago, but pretty sure these things are close to $1,000 per tail light. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna figure out the powers and grounds on this thing. We'll see if we can get something figured out there. All right, well, this makes things a lot more difficult. This truck is a 2021, and therefore I, as of now, don't have any access to the wiring diagrams unless I were to call and see if I could get it from a dealer. So I'm gonna do what I don't like to do. It makes my job a little harder, but we're going to check and see if we can get figured out which one of these are ground, and then we're going to, okay, we've got ground. So I'm gonna try to figure out which one of these is ground, and then we'll know by that, you know, obviously which ones are ground, and then we can try to figure out from there where our powers are. And if I get power to here, when I turn my tail lights on, I'll know it's this tail light. I'm 95% sure that it's this tail light, because when I shake it, it's got a little bit of water in it, and LEDs do not do well with water. So these things are very susceptible to moisture, and with that crack in there, I don't know what caused that crack, but that thing's probably got moisture inside of it. Now, my dealer has several of those on hand. The only problem is they're like $950. It's just unreal, because these things have the blind spot monitoring and all that built into this system. So let's see. I may have to run a separate ground back here. Let me get my power probe out and we'll bring a ground back here. I'll see if I can figure out which one of these are ground. Okay, we've got our power probe here. This part right here on a power probe is always ground. So what I want to do, I want to clamp that onto there. Let's see if we can figure out which one of these are ground. I believe it's probably this one. Yep. So looking at it from the top, it's going to be this one is a ground. Okay, this one's a ground, and I assume that because those were black, but so there's another ground. I'm guessing there's at least 3 grounds, because this thing has blind spot monitoring, it has LED turn signals, tail light, and reverse. So blind spot monitoring, tail light, reverse, and maybe a turn signal ground as well. So let's see. There's a black one over here, so it's going to be this one right here. Yeah, I don't think that one's going to be a ground. Okay, so it's 1, 2, 3. So that leaves all these others, I'm sure, are not ground. What we're going to do is we're going to put these in here, probe these here. Okay. Now, let's turn this thing back over to voltage, DC voltage. Let's just make sure that we have no other power back here. I don't think we should have. Nothing, 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 and nothing. Okay, so now what I want to do, I want to turn the tail light on and see if we've got power back there. Okay, so we should have power to one of these. I've got 12 volts to the first one I poked. Man, there's another 12 volts. 2.5. I'm guessing that's like a signal. 2.5. Okay, so we have power coming back to this thing. Okay, now to these 2 outside ones here, which is red or orange and white. Interruptions. Could get more done if I wouldn't get interrupted all the time. All right, so what I want to do now is I want to back probe this thing while it's plugged into here. Let's just make sure that we're not losing any of our voltage when we plug this thing in. So, back probe this. We should still have power, and we still have power. So, 12.28 volts. That should be enough fire up this thing. So we have a faulty light here. Wow. So with the blind spot monitoring and everything that this thing's got, this light is going to be a fortune. So yeah, not good. Not sure what he's gonna do. I'm assuming with this year of truck, he's gonna want to fix it. I mean, he about has to, but yeah, he don't know. Come on, hey, seriously? Oh, it's gotta be just perfect. Okay, so let's get this put back in here. I can't get that another tail light until tomorrow, so I'm gonna call the customer. We're gonna tell him what we found and see what he wants to do. I will be back to update you guys, but hopefully that was a little helpful. I know it was a little bit out of the normal realm of diagnostic work, but sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. It was faster to do it that way than it would be to try to get the local dealership here to give me a wiring diagram. I'll let you guys know when I figure out what the customer decides on this. I mean, I don't know that I have any other options for him because this thing's new enough. There's nothing aftermarket available with the blind spot monitoring and things that I could find. I'm going to do a little bit more research on that to see if there is anything available, but I'm assuming probably not. All right, so it's the next day. The customer stopped by late last night to have the taillight replaced. I did not record that because I'm still not comfortable recording in front of a customer. So I didn't record it, but just know I put a new taillight in it. That took care of the problem. Customer's happy, I'm happy, and yeah, that's all that mattered. He decided to go with a factory OEM. There was an option of replacing it with an aftermarket taillight. However, I would have had to remove the blind spot monitoring from the old light and move it over, and he didn't want to do that. So he opted to go with the OEM. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.